Okay, it's normal latency, that's why. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, and we are live. Are we? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of CampusCare EdTalks, an exclusive platform where the stalwarts of education come on board to express their viewpoints on burning topics curbing the education fraternity. Before I begin, let me quickly introduce Entab. We are a 20-year-old IT company engaged in providing mature and futuristic school ERP, CRM, and mobile apps to the various schools across India and help transform them from good schools to the best ones. Today in Campus Care Ed Talks, we will talk about digitalized pedagogy in classrooms, right up our alley. The development and use of digital pedagogy have spread like waves over schools and society. Especially during Corona, we have seen that there is a rapid acceptance of technology from school. And the enhanced access to technology is set to pose new possibilities to teach and learn. Simultaneously, the integration of digital technology helps to boost a child confidence and elaborates on the knowledge spectrum. So let us find out from our experience in well learned educators what's their take on it. So without further ado, let me quickly introduce our first guest of the day. She is a motivated leader who has dedicated herself to the education field. She has been a recipient of various accolades in her inspiring journey. Ma'am has undertaken the responsibility to engage in a number of workshops and webinars over the years. Please welcome Poonam Singh ma'am, the principal of Seth Jaipuria School, Patna, Bihar. Welcome on board, ma'am.
Thank you for welcoming me here, Himanshu.
Pleasure
And
is all mine.
yeah, so I feel very proud to be here. While I'll be able to share my experiences, and definitely it was awesome, I believe.
Absolutely, ma'am, and I cannot wait to hear about it. All right, so moving forward, the next guest is the principal of Phoenix Green Schools of Learning, Hyderabad. She is a competent, versatile, and knowledgeable individual with 15 years of experience in teaching. Ma'am believes in the right blend of traditional and modern education techniques. In her meritorious service as a principal, she has received many accolades for showing dedication and excellence. Ma'am has also been honored with Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Samman 2018. Please welcome Anju ma'am. Anju ma'am, welcome on board.
Thank you very much, Himanshu, for a very flattering welcome. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, just doing my job. All right. Last but not the least, we have a lovely educator. She's the Principal Director Academics of Navayuga World School, Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. Her experience in education has been focused on planning, designing, and reviewing curriculum, developing and implementing teacher training focusing on thematic approach to teaching, learning, and developing source material for teachers as well as students, along with the administrative responsibilities of running a school. So please welcome Nisha ma'am. Hi ma'am.
Thank you so much, Himanshu. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So let's keep the discussion forward. I'll go with Anju ma'am first. Ma'am, according to you, what is digital pedagogy that we keep hearing about, and now why do we need one?
Digital pedagogy, we all used to use this term very often in the past, and this year, 2021, has taught us actually what digital pedagogy is all about. So, in a layman's language, if we talk about it, it is basically the study of how to teach digital technologies. So, we have to teach the children by the use of technology. But as educators, we first need to learn to use technology effectively and use the right technology so that whatever learning outcomes we are expecting from the children, we can get those. But in children's language, what it means today, after almost an year of being with the children on a digital platform, what it means, we either upskill ourselves and embrace digital technology, or we get left behind by our students. So under the circumstances, we are increasingly reliant upon digital sources of information, and because we now see the potential for learning to carry on outside the classroom. So there has been a shift in the focus. As learning becomes more digital, I think all of us as educators have to realize the importance of this platform, and we have to teach this digital platform in the right perspective to every child so that it gets carried forward.
Wonderful.
More so, as you in the second part of your question, Himanshu, why during these times? It's very, very self-explanatory. But yes, this pandemic has taught us that nothing should stop and nothing will stop in the future. As in the past, maybe it had stopped, or there was some kind of in between. There was some kind of the children were affected by certain events. But now we have found this platform. And definitely, otherwise it would have been a 0 year. 2021 could have very well been a 0 year, but for digital technology.
Very true.
Very true, ma'am. Very, very true. Taking cue from that, Nisha ma'am, ma'am said that yes, we have seen a paradigm shift. But what I've seen is also that there is a shift in acceptance of the technology as well now. It's almost as if it has been thrusted upon the educators now that, there's no other way. What are your views upon that, Nisha ma'am?
Well, I think I do agree with the fact that this pandemic has suddenly forced us into a space where we were there but not completely there, and we were there for a very limited usage. Now the scope is really expanded beyond our imaginations, and I think teachers have done a fabulous job. So it's definitely good in the sense that yes, I wouldn't say that it's a paradigm shift in a lot of ways. In some ways, yes, because there has been a talk about technology, entering into the schools, entering into our lives. Fortunately or unfortunately, the generation that we teach now is already there into it. So obviously, schools can't escape, and I'm talking very specifically about schools. So they definitely can't escape that space at all. And I think the pandemic has just left us with no, choice but to jump into it. So yes, definitely, it's been a shift in that sense, for sure.
All right. Poonam ma'am, what are your thoughts about it?
I am agree with Anju ma'am as well as Nisha ma'am, and there is no option because as we all know that all of a sudden we were not actually prepared for such scenario. We were not actually prepared, and all of a sudden switch towards online mode and switch towards such pedagogy. It was definitely challenging, and how educators come forward and take a challenge, because it was just not about teaching learning at zero session itself. It was also about the I believe that care about the children. What was happening, I am giving you a real situation, what was happening in our area when lockdown was announced. I would continue in Hindi because
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
are here. So I observe कि बहुत सारे लोग बात कर रहे थे, अब क्या होगा, पढ़ाई नहीं होगी, it will be a session break, zero session sort of thing, and hopeless. You can say the people were almost hopeless, and parents and people were talking about lot of news anchors and channels. No one was thinking about children. So only we educators came forward because we are working with children. So we are seriously concerned about children. We are not concerned about whatever is going on all around about anchoring and doing that all political and all issues. We were really concerned कि what our children will do. Their parents are engaged in so many things, and तो बच्चे क्या करेंगे, उनको कैसे पॉजिटिवली इंगेज रखा जाए, उनको बूस्ट रखा जाए, उनके फिटनेस पर काम किया जाए. जो हमारा सिचुएशन था वेल बीइंग बना, वी वर वर्किंग ऑन वेल बीइंग ऑफ चाइल्ड, राइट? बिकॉज इवन पेरेंट्स, मेरे पास जब कॉल आया एंड आई कॉल फ्यू पेरेंट्स की व्हाट इज योर प्लान, मैम अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता, हम तो घर का दरवाजा खिड़की भी बंद रख रहे हैं. सो इट वाज अ फियर, and we were fighting against that fear which was created all around in the circumstance. and we have taken initiative. And I'm proudly, means I must say proudly that we have started our online session on 1st of April.
Okay.
1st of April, and we were continuously 16 hours training to our teachers from 23rd of March onwards to switch towards online mode. It was not easy for we all team members, and mostly educators did that. And
Right.
convincing parents, making their mindset, controlling them, supporting them, caring them, and making them understand. So these all we tried hard. So definitely it was a boon in such situation.
Right. Right. Taking cue from that, Nisha ma'am and Anju ma'am, whichever would like to go first, ma'am said that the biggest part was teaching the trainers, training the trainers basically, right? What we have in our corporates, you train the trainers. So what sort of challenges did you face? And because I've had these conversations earlier as well with all the educators, where they said that students themselves came forward to help the teachers. How was your experience, Anju ma'am?
Himanshu, before I start, I think when I was listening, I just wanted to say that before we start this, actually we should have started this with an applause for the teaching
Yeah,
fraternity,
very
because
honestly.
what they have done. I mean, I don't know. We always talk about the COVID warriors.
Corona
I think
warriors, right?
teachers are no less than COVID warriors. They are
Yeah,
the
I
front
do
line,
agree, ma'am. Do
right?
agree.
So, because you know, in the school when the physical classes are going on, teachers, we have the computer department. When you're talking about from the school perspective, we have the computer department, and teachers do work on computers, everything, because the results, everything is now into that technology oriented. But still, this was never the scenario. We
right.
never took online classes from the laptop, right? And then sitting at home alone, living in isolation, and learning in isolation. As ma'am said very truly, lots of hours were spent by the departments of computers and technology people in the school to teach the teachers. But yes, I think they have proved again, without any doubt, that they are learners first. It is not only for speaking a line we say that we are learners.
Yeah.
We learned very fast, and definitely let me tell you one thing. In this thing, one very good thing has happened, because we talk about the pandemic, about the negatives, but positive one is this, that online learning went through very smoothly for us. Secondly, we took the classes to the drawing rooms or the bedrooms of the parents. The teachers were suddenly into the homes
Very
of the
true.
parents, right? So what happened was that parents understood what is the process of teaching actually. And it is not, it's not a very sometimes when you do not observe it, you don't understand what we have to go through, the teachers have to go through. So the trinity of this parent, child, and the teacher, on which the pillar of education rests, they, instead of becoming competitors with each other, I think we became collaborators on the way. And we learned to not only cooperate with each other very well, but we also learned to appreciate each other very well in this pattern. So that has really worked out well for us. And teachers, no doubt, we faced challenges. Some of them, every home is not equipped with all the latest technology and with the bandwidth and with the internet speed. But kudos to them. They really worked on it very fast. And let me tell you, not a thing, and all for the purpose of the child. The only thing which was motivating us to go forward is we were thinking about the student in the school who was not coming to the school due
Right.
to a reason on which he has no hand. So we've
Right.
gone through this, I think, in a very, very supportive manner from all the sides, and children have helped the teachers like anything. And let me tell you now, when as of now, when presently there is talk of schools opening sometime soon, children are telling the teachers that yes, we are ready to come back to the school, the senior students. So this is the way the pandemic has changed all of us, I think.
I'm sure, ma'am, students are dying to come to school. And I'll be very honest. I saw this one photograph of, or maybe a video wherein I saw an old teacher, an experienced teacher. I won't say old, an experienced teacher. And from two rubber bands, her mobile was hanging down, and right in front of the mobile, she was taking class, and it made me feel all mushy. And that this is the dedication that each and every one of us should have. That what, no matter how bad the situation gets, we will turn this setback into a comeback. Nisha, ma'am, your point of view?
Well, we have schools down south in a three-tier city, and we have various kinds of schools, state boards as well as the CBSE affiliated. And so one scenario was spectrum was where the students had gadgets with them, if not completely, I mean most of them. And the other extreme was where children came from underprivileged backgrounds and they had no access to technology at all. So we were trying to, the whole idea was not online learning. The idea was to settle the anxieties and to be able to reach out to children in whatever the best effective way was. So at places we did WhatsApp, at places we did online classes, but largely, the whole approach that we took, and we feel quite happy about it, is one, when you see a teacher, who's struggling to teach no matter what, the question is why is she doing that? Is the root cause her motivation to work, or is the root cause hers is that she's been pressurized by the the management, or has no way out and has to sustain herself in a job? So we didn't want to take that call with our teachers at all, and we were very conscious that no matter what, we will not push our teachers to a level where they get anxious, they get stressed. So the first 2 months was spent only about settling the anxieties of people, because teachers, if they are not anxious, there are a lot of family members who are anxious, and then that percolates down. And it was a very unique situation that all of us were in across the world, and we had no answers to it at all, because something like this has never happened. So the whole idea was that you wait and watch and take baby steps. So we did not consciously put our teachers on online classes at any cost. And I think I must applaud the parent community that they were very appreciative. So we started with very little reach outs through, WhatsApp and all, and then we broke for a month for vacations. We gave teachers an off to settle down, enjoy themselves, be at home, just let the whole thing sink in. And then we gradually started their training. We are already a Microsoft Aspire school, and we were one even before the pandemic had started. So, in spite of that, we took a conscious call not to push teachers at all. And then we did a lot of workshops with them. We took some senior classes on. We did some chatting and all, like what we are doing right now. They were just to familiarize the teachers with what is a share option, where is a chat option, how do you share PPTs, how do you create one, how do you log out, log in, and all of that. And even children were getting used to it. So 10 days we ran this with teachers, then we ran this with children, and then finally we jumped into it. So I think it was a very slow, conscious, and smooth, transition from the physical presence in the classroom to a WhatsApp, to online platform. And in between also there've been many training sessions that we've been doing, and the trainings come from teachers. What is it that they want next, what is it that they want next. So and then we do a lot of hand holding. So there are 3 phases of trainings that we've done, and I think it's been a fabulous journey. So with all the anxieties in the beginning, where all of us felt we don't know where we are, to we feel a little more confident, and also realize that there is a limitation to the online platform, and there is a something that it adds on as well. So I think it's been a beautiful journey so far. Yeah.
I'm sure it is, and an exciting one as well. All right, moving forward, ma'am, the enforcement of technological advancement in schools due to the pandemic, the schooling system has seen a drastic change in terms of technologies. According to you, what sort of impact does the technology have on the ergonomics as well as economics of the classroom? Anju, ma'am.
Now, of course, the pandemic has changed the outlook of the classes. What we used to get into the classes. I mean, physical classes and the online classes are very, very different. And because of this, as Nisha was talking about the anxieties of the teachers, yes, we have to deal with the anxieties of the parents, the anxieties of the students also. Because sitting alone in a room, it's not easy for the child. The classroom atmosphere of the child is when he is there or she is there in the class with another 20, 25 odd children, and as a group they learn, and they're seeing the teacher, they can hear what she's saying. And sometimes in technology what happens is there are some glitches in between, so they lose out. So what happens, the child's focus is not that strong that they remain focused throughout whatever happens. So of course these changes were there. And again, coming back to that ergonomics thing, one room, one child with the system, and of course, the family members around the child, it's not a very, very conducive atmosphere for the child to learn. Let me tell you that,
Right.
because children have shared that with us and we've seen that happening to the children. Because when they learn in the classroom with only the teacher, their rapport with the teacher and with the class is very different from what their rapport from home is, because they are also aware of their surroundings, and sometimes there are some disturbances in between. So that is the reason, why going towards the future, we need an amalgamation of the online classes and the physical classes. Sometimes people say online here, but what is the reason? Why do you need physical classes? No, I will not agree with that. Physical classes, why they are needed is because, at home, the home environment is what for fostering love and care for the child. School environment, yes, we foster love and care for the child, but at the same time, we also teach them how to behave in a formal environment. After all, we are not making them ready to clear grade 5 or grade 6 or grade 8 or grade 10. We have a job at our hands to make them ready to face the world.
Right.
We have to enforce discipline, because discipline in life, is something which is in a formal setting, will help them get into the real world. So this was the difference we felt. But yes, the children have adapted to it. And initial period was when the parents were a little more anxious and they used to be hovering around the child in the class. But gradually, as they saw things settling down with the child and the teacher, I think this too has come down.
Right, ma'am. And see, we all talk about, like, in order to be successful, you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And if we're talking about online, then there's sort of a comfort zone attached to it, correct? Like, I'll be in my jammies and I'll be like, I have actually, when we were working from home, and so let's be honest, you're wearing a button-up shirt and a tie, and then sitting in my jammies and doing the meeting. We've all been there. So पूनम मैम, आपका क्या ख्याल है इस बारे में कि आगे चल के ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग होगी, या जहाँ पे थोड़ी बहुत, जैसे दिल्ली में पोल्यूशन हाई हो जाता है और क्लासेस हो जाती है बंद?
So, definitely blended learning. In future, you can't avoid. बच्चे जो सीख चुके हैं, आप उसे हटा नहीं सकते. जो उनकी लर्निंग हो चुकी है, you can't remove it, ना? So definitely, जो बच्चे सीख चुके हैं, क्लास 2 का बच्चा पीपीटी बनाना सीख चुका है, right? They are able to share their screen, they are able to share their thoughts and views, they are able to make their beautiful videos, sometimes better than me. Most.
Ma'am. Okay, I guess. Ma'am, I lost you there for a while.
Hello.
Ma'am,
are you able to hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, now I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So, what it will be a blended learning, 100%. And whatever students learn, we cannot take it back. So, I believe that we have to move forward with technology even when they will come back in the classroom. We cannot change all strategies all of a sudden. And actually, technology is future.
Right.
Future. So, definitely, even we are learning, exploring, innovating as well. And it will be part of our academic. Already it is. Right now, we have started our school in Patna for standard 9 to 12. So, 9th and 10th is going on. We don't have standard 10 right now. And we are following blended learning here. And it is very successful as well. It is going well. And I hope students will enjoy this all process further on. And उनका learning बहुत अच्छा होगा. Hello, are you able to hear
me? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in between network fluctuated perhaps?
Yes, ma'am, a bit.
Okay, so network is quite fine here, I don't know.
Ma'am, कोई बात नहीं, चलता है.
Okay, so बहुत अच्छा रहेगा कि हम बिल्कुल क्लासरूम सेटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी और टीचर के साथ लेकर चले. और टीचर्स भी जो चीजें सीख चुके हैं, so even they will not like to teach less than that.
Right.
Whatever they have learned, now they will even like to incorporate better and more in that.
Right,
So
ma'am.
definitely teachers are always a good learner, and they will even add more values in their teaching, that I believe.
Absolutely. And ma'am, moving forward from here and taking cue from this, that ma'am is talking about blended learning. Nisha, ma'am, what sort of tools and technologies a school can look for while adapting, while going forward, and basic tools that a school would have, like Zoom to ek ho hi gaya. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think the question now is beyond what tool we should use, because I guess this exposure of the last 1 year has exposed us enough, and we are only waiting and watching how better can it get. And even we use Microsoft Teams, and with the kind of features that they're coming up with, which is facilitating, breakout sessions, discussions, and all of that. So each day, every 2 months, you find that there's a new add-on feature to a particular tool. So I think more than what tool you would like to use is something yet to be seen, because I think by the time the pandemic completely is off and we all get up to get into schools another 2-3 months, hopefully, we would have had many more players in the market with better tools to select from. As of now, I think all of us are there, so I would not want to repeat that. The question for me is not so much about what tool; it is about how much would these schools be willing to put in terms of the finances, money, budgets, training, and the time. Because I think the story is not around, or the pain is not around the fact that tools are not available. Tools were always there; they've become more. We've consciously started looking at them, and they've also aggressively started marketing themselves because it's the need of the hour. But the point is, when we make a wise decision later on, when we're going to go in for a blended approach, then the approach is going to be a little different, because I don't need the tool for 24 by 7. I need a tool which is going to cater to my few days of blended learning. And there is definitely, like what Anju was saying, you cannot replace a school at all. It has already been shared and discussed and spoken about that physical classrooms would continue to exist. And it's also very specific, the tools would also be very specific to what age group you're talking about. So maybe a pre-primary, we wouldn't really care. We would prefer more of physical contacts, physical presence of the teacher. Senior classes, you can rely a lot on a technology tool. College, definitely you can. Adults like us, you don't even need a physical class. So because there are
Right.
different aspects of schooling. So I think a lot would depend upon that, where we land up and how many more months, and what the technology world is going to offer us more. So I think that's a bigger question. And then how are we going to train our teachers? And should we handhold them? Because I think that has been a one major pain point with teachers, where they were just suddenly thrown into a water, and told swim, and that's been a little unfair. So I think the question is more around that for me, rather than what tool to use.
Okay, okay, I'll give you that. But what about the processes along that comes apart from those tools? Like systems are there, but then process should also be there in terms of running an institution. Should be based on processes now. It shouldn't be an individual system, or it shouldn't be based on people. It should be based on processes. There should be like this is what this pandemic taught us, right?
Very
I
true.
disagree. If the question is if I'm allowed to answer out of turn, I completely disagree. It is always about people, no matter how much of technology comes in. So I would say, and I'm very proud to say that if you ask any of my teachers, they would say we were never anxious, because there was a lot of hand holding. So that hand holding, the thought process happened at somebody up there who's a human being, who said that you can't throw people in like that, because when I'm anxious as a principal, obviously my teachers are more anxious as a teacher. And so it's a lot about people. Process systems and processes definitely play a very critical role, and they have to be there. So I think we are just blowing the pandemic out of proportion. A lot of bad things have happened, but let's not blame everything on pandemic, and let's not say that there's going to be a paradigm shift because pandemic happened. There's been definitely a large scope of learning out here. But even earlier systems and processes were very important. Even in a school,
Right.
there were very disciplined teachers and there were not so disciplined teachers. So you needed rules and regulations more for those few people who would look for some gate to escape. But largely people who are disciplined. And the same thing has even happened now also when you're working from home. It has to be a your own well thought structure that you put up in place, because we all are dealing with families, too many people in the house, old, young, cooking, teaching, too many things happening. So it's been a lot about setting your own systems and processes also. So I think let's not give it too much of importance, but definitely a lot of learning definitely is there in it as well. So
Absolutely.
people are absolutely important, because if it was
People
only
are
for
important.
technology and not for teachers, we would have had fabulous classrooms. These the tech solutions were always there. The tech
Yeah.
solutions are only going to get better now. But the point is, you do need a teacher in the classroom. So
I'd like to button over here. If Nisha is done with her point, I would like to expand on her point, because very rightly said, Nisha, we systems are a part of it. And earlier on, also before the online classes, the systems were always there. But to give you an example, Himanshu, suppose we were always having smart classes. Right? Schools always have smart classes.
Right.
Now, we could, the scenario was never there that the smart class, the teacher will just put on the, smart class on and the video on and the audio on, and she would be out of the class and the child would automatically learn. This never happens. Similarly, in the pandemic also, when where the systems are in place, but where do you need human interference? Where do these human resources come into it? I'll give you an example. Suppose take the example of course content. Course content, whether it is offline or online, all of us are into that positions that we know what we are talking about, So it is the same. But online, definitely, it took a little more time for the course content to be shared with the children. Now, what is our job into it? We cannot simply let the classes be like that, let the course content be like that. We have to step in. The teachers and the educators have to step in. We have to modify, we have to redesign according to the need of the hour. We have to make certain changes, certain activities, certain assignments. And also now when we come to these systems, some children learn more by auditory, some children learn more by visual, some children learn more by kinesthetic skills, So we have to have a mixture of everything. The child has to hear, the child has to see, the child has to feel, only then the child can learn. So when the child has to feel, automatically the human being comes into the picture.
Absolutely. By the way, taking cue from both of your points, what I meant was, and what I actually wanted to say was, I never said it will only be process and system driven. What I meant was the job of technology is to equip the teacher in the best possible manner. No
Yes, that's right.
technology will
That's
ever
right.
be able to replace a teacher. That's always going to be there. That's what I meant was.
I just felt that Himanshu was saying, hey, hold on. Don't
Yeah, exactly my point.
wait, listen.
Me coming from tech, I never meant that. Poonam ma'am, about you. What about you?
Uh, Definitely, technology helps us to be connected during this period because we feel we are connected, we are one, we are collaborated, and it helps us to boost our emotions as well, to keep our emotions and empathy among people. We were able to empathize with the parents, children, and all stakeholders, you can say simply, right? Whoever were involved. Because it was a situation जब आप connectivity loss होने का डर था, isolation, right?
Hmm.
So we were connected, and even connectivity becomes more wide, you can say simply, globalized as well. हम लोग ज्यादा जुड़ गए, थोड़ा कम जुड़े हुए थे. Right now I am connected with people of Hyderabad and Telangana. So this is due to this technology. We came together, we talked together, we are working together for a beautiful purpose. And not only here, even we were able to collaborate with US and other countries as well for conducting workshops, seminars, and so many
Right,
things.
right. Absolutely right.
So it was a huge and big platform to our students and we people. We are more connected, more globalized, and more. You can say means I didn't get appropriate word for that. That how we feel during this period, right? And while I am talking about my teachers, as ma'am said, that human beings are definitely first priority. Parents are our best supporting hand during this period because 50% teaching was done by parents. Whatever responsibilities were borne by uh, teachers earlier during physics, talking about pre-primary and primary students, parents are there. They are mentoring children well. They are understanding us well. They are appreciating our effort. And that is a true benefit what I get. And I believe it is going to be continued in.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, about that. Which brings me to a very important point, because I've been in constant discussion with everybody, and the way I feel it, that the next big thing would be global collabs, and that's because of technology. Collaboration will happen with schools. I mean, I've been in touch with schools wherein schools from Delhi are collaborating with schools from Denmark and Finland. So the whole there's a very the I guess the play area has actually expanded to a global level now. What are your thought points of the same? Before I go to Anju ma'am, let me tell you that on YouTube I have one teacher of yours, Damayanti Basu Bhattacharya. She's saying thank you to you for believing in her.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
So Anju ma'am, your viewpoints about global collaboration and digital pedagogy.
Of course, I think global collaboration. We are earlier on we were talking about global collaboration when the child used to be in college, graduation level. Now we are talking about global collaboration when the child is still in the school level, and it is all because of this use of online technology and digital pedagogy that we are doing today. Now, Himanshu, let me explain in a way. I belong to the north, and I am settled in the south.
Hmm.
So what happens is when parents come to the school for admissions, especially when they shift from the north to the south, they have not ventured out of their, place for long, and they've simply what their mindset is that, ma'am, how will it happen over here? How will we adjust over here? So we just settle them by saying that the child, the better, as you said in your while you were speaking, that we have to pick up the child from the comfort zone. It applies to all of us, not only the child, whether it is the
Right.
parent, whether it is the educator. We have to pick ourselves from the comfort zone and make them uncomfortable for some time. Then it depends upon the child's personality and the character from the uncomfortable zone, how he creates his own comfort zone. Same thing is going to happen with globalization also. Now we are giving the child now pan India. We have given them the platform. Now pan world, we are giving them the platform. When the platform, increases, the size of the platform increases. What happens? It is finally beneficial to the child if they take it in the right perspective. That is true for everything, whether it is the usage of technology. Technology was here before also. But let me share with you something that always when the children used to come to the school, especially the senior children, we always used to tell them not to carry anything with them, no phones, no iPads, nothing. And how the situation has turned for us, we only are telling them to sit there with their iPads, with the systems, with their phones. So
Right.
what
Very
face
true.
show to the child? So we cannot do away with this, and definitely taken in the right perspective. And if it is of any help to the child, which I think will always be, because as your learning outlook increases, your mind horizons in widens, it is always better for you because it helps you in the future. So there's nothing wrong with the globalization of the schools also. That sharing with with the other schools in other countries, we are already sharing it with Indian schools. But now, if we share it with the schools in the other countries, pan world, then of course it will be beneficial for the child. And why not?
Absolutely. Nisha ma'am.
Well, I think I quite agree with what Anju has shared that it's pandemic has definitely forced us into a situation where we're thinking of not just collaborating with schools outside our own areas and our country for a week or so, and extending it beyond that. Because earlier the collaborations were limited, they would just happen for a week or probably not beyond that at all. And a very basic exchange of, cultural ideas and things like that. Now it is, it's a platform where if you collaborate well, there can also be a lot of resource sharing. There could be a great educator out there who could be helping you out here, whereas you could be taking a training session which earlier, maybe because of financial constraints or time constraints or policy constraints, you couldn't have traveled. So it's not just the students. I think across the school fraternity, it has really become quite evident, and it's been a very fortunate outcome of this pandemic that we're getting a more global reach. And with this, using technology for so many months, I think the comfort and the adaptability has also increased so much that there is no resistance to it at all. So I think earlier, more than the gadgets and the systems and processes, it was more of the personal resistance towards, adapting to something which wasn't so comfortable. And we really didn't know that this would be the way forward. Now, of course, everybody knows, and it's much more comfortable and definitely should be leveraged on as much as possible.
Absolutely. All right. So leveraging on the technology, taking it to the global level. All right. As we move to the end of the webinar, ma'am, I have been asked these questions for a very long time now, and since the admission and everything is going on now, parents would like to know that while selecting a school or while selecting a good school, what are the certain parameters and criteria they should look for their child, basically. This is a question for each and everyone. So beginning from Nisha ma'am, then to Anju ma'am, and then to Poonam ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So, I would put them into two categories. One would be the things that the school should have. It needs to have a right infrastructure. It needs to have right facilities for a student's growth. Like there needs to be a proper play space. There needs to be a proper library where there are enough number of books. The kind of books that are there, because libraries have books, but they're not really, half of them are not even being used. So is it the right reading literature for my child? Is there a lab where my child can learn? Is there an open space, well lit classrooms, neat and tidy environment, toilets? So these are one aspect of the infrastructure that you look for. But I think equally important for me as if I were a parent to go and select, and for me as a head of a school, which I try to do it, is what happens inside the classroom. So is there a teacher training program in place? Are the teachers being trained well? Are they really aware of what's happening around them? Is it just a traditional school which produces a lot of results and children get into XYZ stream? Do they bring in different kind of collaborators into the school? Is it a happy school? Is there a lot of focus on reading? Because we as a school, we focus not only on students reading, but we also have a culture of study circles for teachers. So at the moment, the book that our leadership team is reading is, Emotional Intelligence at Workplace by Daniel Goleman. We next is going to be Good to Great. There's a lot of cultural churning that happens in a school. So these are some of the practices which I would look into. That when I enter the school, is there a lot of hierarchy in school? I'm somehow against hierarchies completely, and I think we should do away with hierarchies. And there needs to be dignity of respect for everybody. So which becomes very evident in how the children are interacting with the principal, how the children are interacting with the teachers, and are they very stiff? Is there a lot of the word discipline is being misused? So those are the things which I would actually focus on, where my child is going to go back happy and come back, learning. Because learning is not only happening in schools. Let's please agree that learning happens a lot of other places as well. This is one very critical component of my child's life, and these are some of the things that I would look into.
Right. Moving forward to Anju ma'am.
Yeah, Himanshu, taking forward from here, as Nisha said, of course, the first part is the infrastructure, which the parent definitely sees, and that's a part and parcel of schooling systems these days. But, presently, the fabric of the society is continuously changing in a very, very drastic manner. Whatever we used to have earlier, the family systems or whatever, the home systems are very different from what they were there during our times or even during when our children were growing up. So these children, whom we are grooming these days, they have a very different fabric of society to deal with. So because we call the school a second home for the child, so the school is not responsible only for academics. Academics is a part of it. It's a one part of it, which I tell every child in my school. It's one part of you. It's not the entire you. So apart from formal education, the moral education, the skill set learning, the communication, the behavior, we have to make the child, the personality of the child and the character of the child very strong so that they are ready to deal with the outside world. Child, as Nisha rightly said, should be a happy child. How can they be a happy child if they are left to themselves for some part of the time when they are with us? The child should be able to dream in the school where he is studying. He should be able to dream and make a roadmap of their dream and convert that dream into a reality. A child should be able to be his or her own mischievous self in the school, because without mischief, I don't think so we have a child. We are not dealing with robots over here. We're dealing with children over here. And being an educator, for me, what happens is these days it is as Nisha said that the hierarchy system should be done away with. The child should be able to speak to anybody and everybody in the school. Very rightly said. And the child should be able to come to the principal or the head of the school at any moment of time whenever he or she feels. It is only then when you deal with the children, you can feel the pulse of the child and you can understand what the child actually needs. So conclude, I would only say that we should be ready with the school educators, or all of us should be ready to send out a generation which have a thinking process or a thought process of their own. And they should be able to create more rather than seek more. So in today's terminology, or if looking from economic point of view, I think we should be able to create more job creators than job seekers in the future generations. A good school identifies the needs, the positives and negatives of the child, and nurtures the child with soft hands. That's how they should look forward every day to come to the school. That's what I need from my child. They should be ready every day to come and see me as we are ready standing at the door to see them every day.
Basically, they should be motivated and inspired to come on an each and every day basis. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Poonam, ma'am, आपका क्या ख्याल है?
Definitely, students should feel comfortable. They should feel that they are coming and they are coming to learn. They are coming to learn. That feeling should be there. And while as a parent, I will select good school, because it is about how to choose a good school or select a good school. So as a parent, definitely it depends upon parents' perspective, right? There are variety of parents and their thought process, their mindset matters a lot. But definitely we believe that what are the expectation of parents? That is first and foremost thing which every school has to follow. Along with that, what are their expectation and from which background students are coming to my school? And what are their future perspective? What are their expectations? We are looking forward for skill training. Already we are doing that. Skills and happiness. And so what is ultimate goal of a parent? And we are trying to reach and make them comfortable according to that. We are providing not only education, we are trying to make good human beings. That is first thing. We are trying to make good human beings, because good human being is a contributor everywhere, whether it is a family, whether it is a society, or whether it is a nation. So while a person is happy with him, skilled, knows potential, knows, and we make them able to understand that these all are your potential, these all you can do in future, these are all platform you can explore according to your inherent qualities. So we all start to, as Anju ma'am said, nurture them first, then later them we guide them, support them, and even after the school we try to be and analyze them where they are going. We are trying to track our students even in future after passing out from the school as well. So all teachers love to see our students somewhere, wherever they can go, right? They should live happily. That is ultimately we all wish for. So definitely we are giving them platform, shaping them, nurturing them, and looking for it that what are the expectation of parents. Because while I'm saying that few parents who are coming from village background, right? They are not well educated. They don't understand that what is meaning of good education. They believe that getting good marks is a good education. They believe that this is all about if a child is getting 97 and 98% or 99%, that is good education. But in future's perspective, if we think and we make them realize that, sir, kindly try to understand good education is being a good human being first. So we are trying to do that. We are more focused on skills training and giving them more and more innovative opportunities to explore according to their own potential.
Right.
So we are just trying to do that. I'm not sure that we are able to do 100%, but yes, we are trying our best 100% from our core of heart.
I'm sure you are, ma'am. I'm sure you are. Don't worry about it. And I know all of you are doing a great job. All right. So, as we move to the end of the webinar, thank you so much for taking out time. But before I let you go, for Anju, ma'am, I have a comment on YouTube wherein Noreen Fatima is saying that teaching is our passion as teachers, and we thank you, Anju, ma'am, for mentoring us during the present situation. Then we have Anuswarya Sri. She's saying pandemic has proved that teachers are quick learners, and when we turn back and see, we wonder how we leverage ourselves, especially in adapting technology. And that's what I also meant. All right. So I understand no technology, nothing will ever be able to change the role of a mentor. I got a mentor very late in my life, so I know what how important a mentor is. So, no technology, no Zoom, no WhatsApp, nothing can replace the role of a mentor. NTAB's job is to equip the mentor with the right tools and technology so that they can perform at their peak. All right. So, thank you, Nisha ma'am. Thank you, Anju ma'am. Thank you, Pooja ma'am, for coming on board and discussing and giving your valuable time. It was a pleasure having conversation with you. So, till next time we meet together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Himanshu, for giving us a good platform, and we all are here on one platform and collaborating us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Nisha
Thanks
ma'am.
a lot, Manchu. It was a pleasure being with you. Thank you.
Same here, ma'am. The pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.